All right, Tri-Cities basketball. We here. I got my guy Lance.
What's up?
We gonna just ask a couple questions, kind of, I guess, get to know you a little bit better, and kind of also get your outlook on your life right now, and your upcoming senior season. First things first, congrats. You just committed to Eastern Washington University. We talked about it a little bit earlier off camera, but tell us what kind of made you make that commitment? Why now? Why Eastern? And yeah, what made your decision for the day?
Well, I made my decision before the senior season because I didn't want to be thinking about it during season. Just want to hoop, especially playoff times. You really got to be locked in, and the next signing day is spring. Why I chose Eastern though, great developmental program, love the players, great attitude. I feel like it's since I'm from Eastern Washington, they just kind of have that that same family attitude, and it's kind of an underdog type of feel to it, and that's what I like playing. So.
Gotcha. Life has changed for you a lot in the last couple months. I like to check in with a lot of players and just kind of ask them about their journey, how basketball's going. And I remember I reached out to you in June. You were going down to Section 7. Tell us about that experience, one, and then kind of how your life changed. And I guess the last question I'll have on top of that is, did you have any other offers or interests before Section 7?
No, I did not have any offers, and it was crazy because Section 7, I already knew about it from watching it before, other players playing it, and it was kind of notorious for being a top, super top level tournament. I heard from my coach one day that we kind of just got a shot, last minute shot to get in the tournament. Just got to make the most of the opportunity. It was great, a lot of great players, good games.
I know, after your guys' first games, I messaged you, I asked you how you did. I saw a couple clips. I think the clip I saw, you dunked on somebody, or you had a nice little dunk.
Yeah.
Tell us about the first few games, and then what led to, the offers that you had after that.
You kind of just go out there and perform and do what you've been working to do. And I feel like the reason I got those offers for my performance is a toughness thing. From here, you don't get guys that are super big, but when you go down to Section 7, we had a team from Florida, places all over. So you got bigger kids. And it's kind of I didn't back down, and that's kind of where I got the recognition from.
Gotcha. You mentioned that you guys got to play against a top team in the nation. Coming from Tri-Cities, those aren't opportunities you guys, kids here, often get. You're kind of, if you play in the MCC, you have a 20-game season, 18 of them are in league. You get to choose your opponents outside of that. What was that experience like playing against that level of competition? Do you think it was a great experience? You told me earlier, hey man, I scored 30 in back-to-back games, and my team didn't do well, but I performed well. But how would you take that experience, even from the side of, losing? Because for Richland High, I don't think you guys have lost a game against a Tri-Cities team in 3 years. So how was that different for you guys, and how has that helped you, I guess, to say?
You kind of just got to look at it am I doing what I'm supposed to do? And then you can look at it more as a team thing. What can I do as a leader to push guys that necessarily aren't taking the challenge as well and aren't used to that type of level of competition? But you just got to look at it in the most positive lens possible.
So after Section 7 happens, how long was it before you actually got your first offer? Was it when you were down there? And then how many offers did you have once you committed? Section 7 was in June, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right now we're in November. So over the course of 5 months, and this literally happened in a day, you went from a kid with no offers, no D1 interest at the time, to now you have offers. How soon did you get your first offer, and how many offers have you ended up with since you committed?
Yeah, my first 3 were up there in Section 7. We played our first game. I talked to some coaches and some people that were kind of around the tournament, taking some information and stuff like that. And then after the second game, it just blew up from there. I remember after I'm in the hotel, just chilling, getting ready for the next day, and all of a sudden Montana and Montana State both text me, and then the next day after the third game, San Francisco.
Yeah.
So it's crazy because it's you're thinking about going into your senior season, and it's I want to pursue basketball as a career, and you don't have anything yet.
Yeah.
But
a lot changes so quick. How many offers did you end up with before you committed to Eastern?
I think it's around 8 to 10 offers and like serious interest, but really like focused in on around 4 schools, which was Montana, San Francisco, Eastern, and WSU.
You went on quite a few visits. How were those? I mean, how many visits did you get to take over this last couple months?
So I went to like a little 1-day visit plus camp at Boise, and then official at WSU, official at Montana, and official at Eastern. And one thing I'd say about that's good about the visits is you really get to see like how hard these players work. High school, at least my high school from our area, we're not used to, you got weights before practice, and then you got practice, and then you got to shoot. So it kind of like set like goals in my mind that just because you're tired from practice doesn't mean like you still have work to do, so.
We were talking about it earlier. You did the media shoot, right? How cool is that, you know, from a kid's perspective? It's kind of like you're living in your own dream, you know, like it's kind of like a chance for you to see your work paying off. What was that experience like being on those campuses, doing those media day, practicing with the team? How was that for you?
The media day for sure is like, you see so many players that you've looked up to, like take those pictures and things like that, and it's kind of like stunning in the moment, especially like walking out to the arena for the first time, like from like a small area, like the gyms around here, we don't have a big college team like that. So even just watching like a football game, how crazy the fans are, how many people are there, how big the facilities are, you really know like it's next level.
Yeah. So now you've committed, you've gone on your visits, a lot's changed in your life, literally over the course of this last year, going into your senior year. Like, what are your expectations for yourself individually?
I'd say just working on a couple things that coaches have pointed out to me. I think I have got a lot better at this during the summer is like the 3-ball, taking my open shot instead of trying to dribble, make different, I wouldn't say like harder, but different shots, just like take the first open one. And then not only do I want to be the guy to guard, but I want to guard the guy that's the best guy on the opposite team. Like you can look at every little thing post-game, like needs a little work, like things like that, but mainly those two.
I guess this is opposite, you know, kind of goes aligned with what you just said. I'm just curious to know, your senior season, you're probably going to play a lot on the ball. You're probably going to be, you know, mostly in a point guard, point forward type of role. In college, you mentioned, you know, off camera that you're going to play 2-3. You know, like how much of an adjustment do you think that'll be for you? And are you kind of thinking about that now, going into your senior season, playing the playing style that Richland High School needs you to play, or the playing style that you're preparing for at Eastern Washington?
It's weird because growing up, I always did play kind of like that 3 position until I got varsity my junior year. And that's when they kind of pushed me to play a more point guard role, ball in my hands more. So it's not as much like I'm not used to it. It's more like kind of getting back in the habit of different shots. Point guard, you might bring it up and then get it back. It's more of like, I've been working really hard on coming off screens, getting shots, things like that as a 2 guard. And then 3, you got to mix in a little post work too, so.
Now, team-wise, I think, if I'm correct, last year you guys finished top 6 in state. 2 years ago, you guys finished, I think, 2nd. Can you guys win state this year?
We for sure can, and I always said we were gonna win last year. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but that loss kind of just like fuels the fire a little bit, like work a little harder, get the guys to work harder on the team, and I feel like there's no reason that we shouldn't win state this year. We should for sure be known as like, that's the team to beat. I love that title, so.
So, you know, with this being your senior season, it's your coach's last season, it's a lot going into this year. Do you feel any type of pressure?
For sure. What comes with the D1 offer is kind of like a bigger target on your back, especially statewide. Like, we've been the team to beat MCC. Once everybody from the state kind of sees that, they want it, because if you beat a guy, like this is exactly how I got my offers. You beat a guy that has offers, you kind of gain a little traction yourself, so. And the last year thing, like, it is a little bit of pressure, like knowing it's your last year, and most of my teammates are seniors, so it's kind of like the last time you can give back to them and kind of like put yourself in the history of the school, but I feel like it's a good thing. You definitely want pressure because it's better than like nobody like expecting anything out of you at all. So
every one of my basketball seasons, I would say, it ended in tears, right? And you're either ended in tears because you won or because you lost. Do you think you will cry if you guys don't win state?
for sure. I mean, it's hard to admit, but like I've cried every year that we didn't win. So I feel like I might even cry like last day of practice, like last day in my home gym, like before we go to state.
Do you think you'll cry if you guys win state?
For sure.
Yeah.
Like I think everybody on the team would be crying. Like you're holding the trophy for first place instead of second or first place instead of fifth, so.
Gotcha. Well, shoot, that's everything. You guys think I got any more questions, comments, concerns? I got one thing. Oh, anybody? Anybody else off camera? Can't see y'all, man. The light bright.
I think you asked a lot of good questions, so whatever you have left.
Yeah, this will be my last one because obviously, I mean, we started this Tri-Cities basketball circuit this last year. My brand, Unknown Basketball, they kind of coincide with each other, but I'm not a Tri-Cities kid. I live in the community. I'm of the basketball community. I'd like to build up the basketball community. Our media, they're not from Tri-Cities. We're all really from outside area, and we're trying to bring like a basketball culture here that we have either seen or that we know that the area needs. For you, if I was to ask you, what is Tri-Cities basketball, not our circuit, but just Tri-Cities basketball in general, what does that mean to you?
I feel like it's definitely a toughness and a grit. Before, like a couple guys like in Richland history before me, like nobody was really like making it outside of Tri-Cities. So it's kind of like you need to have that extra to get by, like just to get by or get noticed and things like that. So I don't want to say it's like rough, but like you kind of have like an extra little like hitch on your back type of thing.
One of the things for, again, us being on the outside of the community, I don't want to say that we got to the area late, but I feel like I mentioned to you, I think your guys have the best class of kids that I've seen in the last few years. Now it's a whole nother group of kids. I think this 2029, 2030 group has a really good group of talented kids. Depending on how they end up is going to be up to people like us to help them and things like that, and also the community. But individually, what would you tell a young kid, or what would your advice be to a young kid from the Tri-Cities basketball area to get to where you're at or to have the type of success that you've had in high school?
Yeah, I'll just say three things. One, everybody that has advice for you, I'd want you to like hear it. Even though something may not apply to you directly or may not affect you directly, like there's always something that you can take from someone. Two, there's somebody out there that's doing more. That should like push you because you don't want anybody like outworking you. So for a kid that's shorter or less talented or something like that, like it takes extra. Like it sucks that it's that way, but like this game is centered around a lot of like size and things like that. It takes extra for kids around here. And then three, like attitude off the court, that matters a lot more than I think like kids appreciate or like look at. The way you treat your teachers or the way you treat kids, like as much as you think like that'll never get outside of this area, like people will notice, like colleges will find out. So
it's kind of crazy to hear you say all those things because we were just talking about how when we met and like the 360 that your life has done in that time is like, and not, it's just, it's really cool to see that how much you've matured and developed and to get to where you're at, because I think you could only say those things because you've been a testament to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the hard work, and then like I always say, like, I mean, after this, you asked me, hey, can I get up shots? You didn't say, hey, like, I'm gonna go home. I asked you gonna have a party? He's like, no, just work out. Like your freshman year, pretty much in, verbatim, you didn't feel like you were mature enough to play up yet. You know what I'm saying? And then like, I feel like that's super important for kids to also realize like who you are now, and ninth grade doesn't define who you will be as a senior. So that's really good stuff. It gives me like a lot of, I don't want to say more questions, but I will ask you this as a person that you did an AAU circuit, you know, and you mentioned you didn't have, you know, the greatest experience there individually, but then you've had a lot of great success in high school. If you were to tell a high school kid or a kid in general, hey, focus on AAU or focus on high school based off of your experience, what would you know, kind of say?
For me, I would say focus a little more on high school. Like, I wouldn't say don't play AAU at all, because there's definitely benefits to it. But focusing on high school, it's a college setting, realistically. Like, you have 4 years. Like, you're there with the team. You're practicing every day. Like, that kind of atmosphere and that kind of social structure and the way you can become a leader from that is way different than AAU. Like, AAU, you can kind of get popped on a team here and there, and then there's different guys you have to kind of work with, which that's a skill too, adapting to different guys and different players. But as far as if you want to go to college, I feel like you really want to focus on your game and your high school team. So.
Gotcha. And like, do you think some of it is subjective upon, you mentioned like height and size earlier. Do you think that's kind of subjective sometimes based off of individual player situation and circumstance?
It definitely is. And one thing I'd say about different positions as far as college basketball, as far as what I've seen from going on visits and things like that, a lot of point guards are older. And for a high school kid to get out there and compete against a 24, 25-year-old, it's hard. Like, it's really hard, especially with all the different rules and things like that NCAA has put out. Like, that's hard, but, you know, like, it may be selective, but like a lot of the bigger guys have been younger. It's different because you're not super big, but there's definitely advantages to being shorter, right? Like, it takes a little extra work to maybe like get over a bigger guy, like on the rim, things like that. But it's a desired game for sure. Like, a point guard is a very desirable position. So.
It's good stuff. Any other questions? Anything we got? I'm about to get into Stephen A. Smith mode, man. That shit was good. It's a wrap on the set, guys. We wrapped it up.